So as you can see, we are currently in a cabin. Turns out we can't move anywhere. There's snow all around this cabin, and we simply can't open the door. So which better way to spend time than to talk about our trade, marketing and loyalty? I have here with me Christian. He is from the company called Relationwise, and he's an expert in loyalty measurement and customer satisfaction measurement. So I'm going to ask him a few questions, and I'd advise you listen in to what he has to say. And if you need to do something right now, then pause this video, go do what you have to do, and then come back and restart the video and focus so that you can actually hopefully learn something and get some inspiration. So Christian, hey, thanks for doing this.
It's great being here. I was wondering, are we going skiing after this interview?
I think that's I'll probably break both legs, but I still like to do it. It's an experience. Speaking about you, so who are you and what is your company all about? So in brief term.
Okay, well, I'm from Copenhagen, Denmark. I've been working with customer experience for quite a few years now, even written a couple of books about the subject. One is called Recommended, and the other one is called Naked Marketing.
Oh la la.
I know, yeah. You don't have to be naked to read it, but it's good fun.
Okay.
And yeah, I have a company. I'm a director for an IT tech company where we can do these customer experience programs and, help companies, first of all, measure, how many customer ambassadors they have or do not have, because that's often the case that companies, they think one thing. They think, well, we have many happy customers. And the thing is, when you ask the customers, they might have a different opinion about your company.
Absolutely, and what you're saying, I don't remember the numbers exactly, but you've probably seen the same study where customers are asked to what degree a company delivers what they promise. And then the executives in the companies are asked to what degree they believe they deliver the promise. And the discrepancy is like huge.
It is. It was Bain and Company, by the way, that did the survey or the research, and it was 88. So 80% of the CEOs, they believed they delivered excellent customer service.
Right.
And when you ask the customers, it was only 8%.
That's right, so it was 8%. That's a humongous difference. So what is the smart way today? Let's say that you're a small, medium-sized business, for example, and you want to say, it's got to be a way for me to, on an ongoing basis and in real time, measure my customer either satisfaction or loyalty. How would you go about that? What's the experience?
Well, it all starts by asking just one question.
Really?
Really, yeah. And a lot of people say, is that only, is that just one question? Mm-hmm. And the thing is, companies have for way too many years, asked way too many questions. And there was this guy called Fred Weisel. He was actually trying to find out what would be the ultimate question we could ask our customers. And it is the recommendation question. So you just ask that question to your customers. How likely would you recommend our company from 0 to 10? And then you can sort your customers into 3 categories. If they rate you 9 or 10, those are their promoters. They would be happy to recommend you. Those are customers basically for life. If they rate you 7 and 8, those are the passive satisfied. And I would bet most companies, they have most of those passive satisfied. They're not dissatisfied, but they are like, if there's another competitor with a better offer, I don't mind switching. I'm sure we have both tried that feeling,
Absolutely.
when we have been shopping. And finally, we got the detractors. They rate you between 0 and 6, and they are not happy. And if they even rate you between 0 and 4, they are ready to badmouth you. That's not good.
So they'll go on to social media and whatnot and start. I do that all the time with airlines. Seriously, I do not stand for all the bull crap any longer, and I know it makes me sound like an old fart that's just complaining all the time. But reality is, I just want.
But it's true. The airlines are horrible at this.
Well, but not just airlines, but I mean, mostly I do it with airlines. So, is it true that, based on what you just talked about, that any type of business can benefit from this?
Definitely, yeah.
Not just large businesses, or both consumer-facing and business-to-business kind of businesses?
Even the small mom and pop shop, can benefit because they too have customers who are either satisfied or dissatisfied. So the whole concept of creating customer ambassadors are for anyone. Of course, let's say you just have 5 customers and they're very big ones, and that's fine for you. It might not be, any reason to actually set up a big customer experience program because you have a very close relationship with your customers.
Right.
But if you have at least 100, it will definitely make sense to actually start to ask them in real time.
And the value, I suppose, is because it becomes actionable. So you can react, respond to the critical groups of customers who are not completely happy, as well as those that are happy. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, first of all, if you have detractors, the first thing you have to do is to close the loop, contact the dissatisfied customers and do something about it. And you would be surprised just picking up the phone, sending them an email and say, hey, I listened to you. I know what happens. How can we improve our service? Just that little act will turn them from being dissatisfied to at least passive satisfied.
Yeah.
And of course, also the passive satisfied, that would be another thing you should discuss with your team, especially your front-end workers who, have the contact with your customers. How can we improve the service slightly or the customer experience? So from being passive satisfied, they will be customer ambassadors and customers for life.
That sounds like a very good thing. It's interesting about this ultimate question, or one question. I had a talk with Bob Hayes I think that was in Bogota in Colombia, where we were both speaking at some conference. And he doesn't believe in the ultimate question as a valid way of measuring customer satisfaction or customer loyalty. But when I think about what you're just saying now, if you're a small and medium-sized business and you don't have a humongous department for dealing with these things, with experts and so on, it seems like a really plausible way to start, getting some sort of feeling about how your customers are doing, and the fact that it is actionable, that you can go specifically to one person and say whether they're happy or not happy or in between, and say, thank you, and we'd like to understand better why you're not currently happy, and then start working with them individually.
It is, and I also have to say, I know the discussion between, just one question or should we include more questions, and sometimes it turns into like a religion,
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, and it's impossible to find, the ultimate answer for that. Yeah. The thing is, in the perfect world, I would probably ask my customers 100 questions. But what happens when we ask our customers 100 questions?
Nothing.
The response rate will be like this.
Yeah.
So I would say in this world, the best possible thing we can do is using the Net Promoter Score. At least I haven't seen a better way to do it. Yeah. Of course, let's say once a year you would like to ask some more questions, and of course you can do that. But when you do it in real time, your customer experience program in real time, I would only encourage you to ask one question.
Yeah, and to me it makes sense when I think about it, because at least it's something. So maybe it's not the perfect way, but it's something. You have something to work with. You get a feedback from your client or your customer, and you're able to work with that feedback. And I think that's, as you said as well, that's very critical. It's not just a matter of getting a report, it's a matter of getting the insight from individual customers and then following up with them.
The thing is, companies that spend a lot of time executing the survey, making a really nice, fancy report and a PowerPoint presentation, they spend like 80% of that, if not more, and then just very little on the results. And I think we should actually, tip it upside down. Absolutely. So you should spend minimal time on the survey. We can let their IT systems do that, the technology. We have already the technology for that. So we can spend all our time on actually working on the customer feedback, because that is the only thing that would actually increase the score. One thing is to measure the score, that's really simple. But to increase the score, that is the tricky point, and that is really where you have to focus.
Right. So the last question, I understand that you've been doing really well in your home market, which is Denmark. What about elsewhere? Are you doing business elsewhere?
Oh, yeah. We have, actually we just set up some customers like in Japan in India, Australia, Canada.
Wow.
So we're all around. We have an office in London, and they speak English there.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
so if you can speak English, you can work with us.
So you're working with customers all over the world?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Thank you very much, Christian, for sharing this insight. And to you listening, there will be some links for the 2 books that Christian has written, Naked Marketing and Recommended. Also a link to Relationwise if you want to know more about that solution. There'll be some other links as well to various blog posts that talks a little bit about measuring the customer experience and customer satisfaction, including links to Bob Hayes, PhD, from Seattle, my good friend, who has a different take on this. And with that, I just want to say thank you for listening, wishing you a great day today and all the other days.